we chose Toyota Motor Corporation due to the class's interest in the automotive industry after learning about the changes being made at General Motors. Toyota is a well-recognized brand within the industry that has built a strong relationship with consumers. Toyota also provides and creates opportunities for innovation and change. This is not limited to their own personal gain, but for the progression of technology and safety as well. Lastly, we find the organization to be relative to all because they market to one of the largest consumer groups and are such a familiar product. It is likely that majority of the class drives a Toyota Motor Corporation vehicle. In 1933, Toyota Motor Corporation was formed from the Toyota Automation Loom Works. Later, Toyota Industries Corporation would be formed by Toyota Sakichi, a Japanese manufacturer. The first production car, model AA sedan, was released in 1936. Within the Toyota Motor Corporation, several other companies were established. These included Toyota Machine Works Limited and Toyota Auto Body Limited. While production was halted after World War II, Toyota automobile production resumed in the 1950s, and the business began to gain traction. In 1957, Toyota marketed its first sedan through Toyota Motor Sales USA. After the introduction of the Land Cruiser and a few other vehicles, expansion was at a rapid rate, and Toyota began to acquire other automobile businesses such as Hino Motors and Haihitsu Motor Company Limited. Toyota was also quickly known for its low-cost, fuel efficiency, and reliability. With significant growth and innovation, Toyota introduced Lexus, its luxury brand, and the first mass-produced hybrid-powered vehicle, the Prius. Currently, Toyota has many plants and distributors across the globe, and Toyota is the largest manufacturer and most popular in the world for automobile production. Toyota employs 371,796 individuals and additional part-time and contract employees. While headquarters are in Toyota, Japan, Toyota operates in Japan, North America, Europe, Asia, Central and South America, Africa, and the Middle East. Their total revenue is approximately $29 million and growing, and their gross profit is $5.5 million. Their target clientele is anyone who wants or does drive a car. Toyota's vision statement is to be the most successful and respected car company in America. Toyota's mission statement is to attract and attain customers with high-valued products and services and the most satisfying ownership experience in America. While Toyota maintains the highest market share of the automobile industry, it still has several competitors. Competitors include Volkswagen, General Motors, and Ford Motors. Toyota has more than $100 billion more in market capitalization than its competitors, but it still competes against these other brands when appealing to consumers. Toyota is able to stay ahead of these competitors due to its work processes, goal setting, and traditional values from its founders. Toyota also invests in its future through programs like Toyota New Global Architecture and its 2019 merger of 3 information technology subsidiaries. Toyota's strategic planning follows its vision to ultimately become the best car company in America and the world.
As a multinational company and largest car manufacturer in the world, Toyota's global success has come from producing high-quality cars, trucks, buses, and robots. Toyota's presence is highlighted by their mantra that nothing is so good that it cannot be improved. In order to become a larger international player, Toyota entered into large markets outside of Japan, including China, Australia, Japan, Brazil, and France. They were able to weaponize low-cost cars in Russia and India by opening 3 new factories that produced almost 500,000 per year. The problem of a presently oversaturated U.S. marketplace was driven by the rise of competitors in the automotive space, notably occurring in 1977. One of these competitors, Toyota, sought to capitalize on developing cars that addressed the needs and wants of dissatisfied General Motors consumers at the time. With General Motors manufacturing quality declining from efforts to reduce financial spending, Toyota was able to gain the interest and loyalty of consumers with its fuel-efficient cars that addressed a need for cheaper fuel expenses in an era when gas prices were constantly rising. As a result, Toyota became the top automotive manufacturer in the United States and the world, surpassing General Motors for the first time in 77 years. Toyota was then able to enter the truck and sport utility market to grow itself as a full-line manufacturer. While Toyota was not the only manufacturing firm to more adequately address consumer-driven needs in its cars, its overtaking of General Motors in 1977 spurred an era of new manufacturing driven by technological advances in a free competition environment that General Motors was no longer dominating. Toyota pursues open and fair business and engages in corporate social responsibility initiatives through close collaboration with business partners to raise quality in terms of safety and customer satisfaction. In an effort to diversify fuel sources, the company is pushing for advances related to electrified powertrains. Hydrogen-powered vehicles such as the Mirai also are central to Toyota's strategy for promoting widespread use of fuel cell vehicles. Additionally, Toyota has implemented a 5-year environmental action plan from 2017 to 2021. Toyota will focus on areas that will help them achieve their Toyota Environmental Challenge 2050. These areas include carbon, water, materials, and biodiversity. In each focus area, they are working towards zero environmental impact and, with outreach, toward a net positive impact for society and the planet. In 2016, Toyota unveiled the Toyota Environmental Challenge 2050, which builds on that foundation and provides a blueprint for the next 30-plus years. This challenge consists of 6 goals that seek to go beyond zero environmental impact and create a net positive impact on society and the planet. In North America, they developed a regional environmental mission statement that aligns respect for the planet and Challenge 2050 with their focus areas and 5-year environmental action plan. These action items include 1. Eliminate almost all CO2 emission from new Toyota vehicles. 2. Eliminate all CO2 emissions from the manufacturing of parts and materials used to produce Toyota vehicles. 3. Eliminate all CO2 emissions from Toyota facilities, logistics, and processes. 4. Ensure all Toyota factories and processes conserve and protect water resources. 5. Ensure all Toyota factories and processes support a recycling-based society. And 6. Ensure all Toyota factories and processes operate in harmony with nature. Toyota's expansion was not an immediate strategy as it took over 20 years to develop a second local factory. Then, in the 1960s, Toyota penetrated foreign markets, exporting 100 units of model FXL large trucks to Brazil. As an emerging market, Toyota was able to expand their brand overseas and prove themselves a reputable car manufacturer, which soon led to deliveries in Latin America. After the expansion of products to the Latin American countries, Toyota had expanded its automobiles to the North American continent, especially the United States of America, with the introduction of 5 new factories. All in all, Toyota started to target the international market by focusing on the national level, then the global level. By 2009, Toyota Motors emerged as the market capitalization leader, outperforming General Motors, Ford, and Honda combined. Product efficiency, customer satisfaction, and lean strategy has driven Toyota to number 1 vehicle sales in the world. Toyota's strength proved why they have remained in position as one of the top automotive manufacturers in the world. Toyota's internal strategic factors that serve as the company's main strengths include a global supply chain, strong brand image, and rapid innovation capabilities. Toyota is one of the most well-known car brands in the world, in part to the relationships they have built over time in their customer-centric products. Toyota's weaknesses point to possible obstacles that are preventing company business growth. Toyota's main weaknesses consist of hierarchical organizational structure, secrecy in organizational culture, and effects of product recalls in recent years. With so little flexibility in the organization and company secrecy, it is almost impossible for Toyota to address emerging problems such as recalls. This causes consumer mistrust, lack of profitability, and potentially loss of new customers. While there is room for company improvement and transparency, it will be hard to change such an ingrained company culture. Toyota's opportunities are strategically based on technological and economic trends. Toyota's most significant opportunities to improve their business include growing markets in developing countries, rising demand for fuel-efficient automobiles, and growing interest in advanced electronics and vehicles. Toyota has already taken steps to achieve all these opportunities, as we see in their 5-year Environmental Action Plan and Toyota Challenge 2050. The threats to Toyota's business are based primarily on the competitive landscape. External strategic factors that could reduce the firm's performance include growing market presence of low-cost competitors and rapid innovation. Toyota needs to determine what kind of company they want to be. They are no longer the low-cost car and are being outdone by larger manufacturers who are keeping an edge up on technology. Toyota needs to establish a strong marketplace identity in these rapidly changing times.
Hello everybody, my name is Chen. I am going to talk about the Toyota analysis, the strategy problem. So the first thing we are going to talk about will be the current problems. So far, there are 3 recalls from Toyota in 2018. The first was issued on Valentine's Day, with over 11,000 cameras potentially affected by the incorrectly connected fuel line that could leak and, if imposed, may cause the car to catch fire. Then in late March, NHTSA issued a recall for 1,730 cameras that had a risk of stalling due to the incorrectly seized pistons. And the most recent recall concerns about 6,000 units that were equipped with a faulty vacuum pump assembly, which was explained manufactured incorrectly. Toyota is looking for fast growth. Because of that wish, they have not been putting as much attention to their actual end product and have been quick to overlook the need for technology within their units. Because of less of the emphasis on quality control, Toyota has had the recall issues mentioned earlier. As a consumer, if I am going to buy a product, especially a car, quality is a top criteria for me. People doesn't buy a vehicle just because it's part of the large brand. Recalls scare the customers, and so poor quality puts into question if the brand can mostly reliably serve the customer. Toyota sees the importance of technology in their products, and so growth has slowed the company, spending large amounts of the capital and time in the tech development for their vehicles. Although such an investment is great for the long-term outlook, current malfunctions with their technologies has hampered their image. So what kind of strategy does Toyota have? Toyota has a generic strategy that is a combination of cost leadership and broad depreciation. Cost leadership entails minimizing the cost of operations and selling prices. As for the depreciation strategy, it requires development in business and product uniqueness to ensure Toyota's competitive advantage and to help achieve the corporate goal of becoming the world's largest automaker. A strategic goal corresponding to Toyota's generic strategy is to minimize production costs to attain cost leadership. The company does so through the just-in-time manufacturing method, which is also known as Toyota Production System. This method addresses Toyota's strategy by minimizing waste, inventory cost, and response time. As a result, the business achieves maximum business efficiency. Toyota has a group called Toyota's Research and Development Organization, which is used for their product technology development. The organization does forward-thinking and basic research to find leading-edge technology and then develops their technology to incorporate into their product design. Over the last few years, Toyota has been one of the biggest advocates for the uses of hydrogen fuel cell run cars in the automotive industry. The company still has kinks to work out in the development of their technology because of the advanced needs involved with the fuel infrastructure. Toyota may be having issues with its development, but are making great strides in the creation of new car battery technology that will decrease energy needs and increase the life of the battery itself. Toyota has recently created a partnership to help themselves market to a rather unique segment. Toyota and Virgin Snowboards have entered into a multi-year strategic partnership. Together, the two companies find themselves sponsoring 16-year-old snowboarding superstar Chloe Kim, the 2016 Virgin US Open halfpipe champion and the three-time X Games gold medalist. The partnership is Toyota's strategic attempt to have sponsorship in the Olympic Games that will hopefully vault the automaker to the top tier of the global marketing podium, alongside some of the world's largest and most recognizable brands, including Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and General Electric. At an estimate of cost nearly $1 billion over 4 Olympic Games through 2024, it also will be the amount to a single largest market endeavor in the company's history. By doing so, Toyota is investing in the increase to recognize their brand. Recently, there are a lot of complaints that focusing on the Toyota has too many computerization and the problem with the global sourcing and the effect of Toyota's single-minded pursuit to becoming the world's largest automaker. In fact, the recent criticism of Toyota in these areas demonstrated how leadership holds the key to success and failure within the organizational transformation. Toyota's new technology and leadership. Toyota's recent strategy to become the world's #1 automaker has been underpinned by using new know-how, new technology, and new materials to improve, perfect, and breakthrough auto design and manufacturing. The strategy also requires that Toyota shifted its focus from manufacturing engineering and building quality toward research and development product design.
In looking at the nature of management at Toyota, the company has created a two-pillar system that comprises of what they call the Toyota Way. The Toyota Way is a management system that is all about continuous improvement and respect for people. Toyota's management style is based on the principle that they are to challenge everything and create an atmosphere of continuous learning. The Toyota Way is also about respecting people by engaging employees and promoting active participation in improving their everyday jobs. The Toyota Way uses 14 principles to help ensure that their two-pillar system is implemented and used correctly. These 14 simple principles include basing your management decisions on long-term philosophy, even at the expense of short-term financial goals, creating continuous process flow to bring problems to the surface, using pull systems to avoid overproduction, leveling out the workload to eliminate waiting, building a culture of stopping to fix problems to ensure the quality is right, standardizing tasks so that the foundation is around continuous improvement and employee empowerment, using visual controls so no problems are hidden, using only reliable and thoroughly tested technologies that serves people and process it, growing leaders who thoroughly understand the work, live the philosophy, and teach it to others, develop exceptional people and teams who follow Toyota's philosophy, respecting your extended network of partners and suppliers by challenging them and helping them to improve. They believe in the philosophy of being hands-on and understand thoroughly the situation. Make decisions slowly by consensus and then rapidly implement those decisions. And finally, they want to become use the philosophy that they want to be a learning organization through relentless reflection and continuous improvement. As you can tell, the 14 principles are centered around those two pillars of continuous improvement and individual respect. Toyota firmly believes that the right process will produce the right results and that value will be added to the organization by the development of their employees. Toyota strongly believes that their organizational structure is the key reason they have found such success in the global market. As recently as 2017, Toyota reorganized and made significant changes to their divisional organizational structure. The divisions are based on global hierarchy, geography, and products. The structure is designed to create a greater degree of flexibility compared to their older and more traditional centralized structure. With the changes made, management is better able to respond to issues and provide more customized oversight. The new structure does decrease the role of headquarters, as the regional departments now handle the vast majority of decision making within their regions. Toyota is pleased with the new structure, as they feel it facilitates business resilience and continued growth. And looking at the income statement for Toyota over the last 3 years, one thing that the company does not appear to be guilty of is being complacent. Over the last year, Toyota has seen their revenues increase by 6.4%. To keep a healthy perspective here, though, we need to evaluate how their bottom line compares to the rest of the industry. Toyota's profit margin hovers just around 8.8%. The industry average is actually 11%. The significance of this figure is that the average competitor actually makes more money per unit than Toyota by just over 2%. In terms of bringing this back to the income statement, although one could infer that Toyota is beating the competition in terms of revenue, it doesn't mean that Toyota is winning the battle of the bottom line. Other companies can actually be fiscally healthier in comparison to Toyota because of the higher margin percentage. For every dollar the average auto manufacturing company earns, they are actually making about 2 cents more than Toyota. As you can see, revenue can be quite deceptive. Having a lower margin also makes it more difficult for Toyota to negotiate, as they have less wiggle room than other firms. It is also a good idea to see how a company handles their expenses, not just their revenues. A wisely run company makes it a priority to pay attention to expenses, because expenses are often the part of the business that are easiest to control. Revenues can be quite unpredictable, but for the most part, expenses are not. In the case of Toyota, we see that over the last 3 years, their expenses have been relatively stable. 2018 expenses have increased over the average by about 3.6%, but nothing that would alarm stockholders. Overall, the income statement for Toyota looks to be rather healthy. For the 2018 fiscal year, based on Toyota's income statement, it looks like the company is in line for an increased bottom line figure for the second year in a row. In continuing on the analysis of the financials for Toyota, we now start with the balance sheets over the last 3 years. The balance sheet can tell you a lot about the health of a company. For Toyota, on the simplest of first glances, we see that they have more assets than liabilities. And even if your education isn't in finance, anyone can realize that such a scenario is where a company would like to be. In fact, Toyota has an asset to liability ratio of 2.83, meaning that the company has almost 3 times the resources required to cover the debts on their books. Focusing in a little more intently on how well Toyota manages their assets, the company has a return on assets figure that shows the percentage of profit that is generated by their resources of 3.12%. Although the industry average hovers around 3.24%, Toyota actually fares pretty well against their competitors, as the ROAs over the last year for Honda, Ford, and GM respectively are 2.74%, 1.36%, and 2.31%. The balance sheet for Toyota seems to be pretty steady over the last 3 years. There haven't been any increases or decreases on the balance sheet that would raise a flag. Toyota has seen an increase in assets each year since 2015, and their recent year-ends showed an increase of 3%. Looking at the same balance sheet, the company has increased their liabilities, but at a lower increase than that of their assets. At an average increase of 2% liabilities over the last 3 years, Toyota is using debt to increase their assets, but at a portion that is a third less than gains being seen. Such a strategy for Toyota is quite fiscally responsible, and as we saw earlier, there is no concern, based on the balance sheet numbers, that Toyota has fears of being insolvent. Fiscal responsibility is key for the success of any organization, and although we can see cash balances on the balance sheet reports, it is often best practice to evaluate the cash flow statement to understand how well the company is investing and prioritizing their expenditures. Our next section brings us just to that, the cash flow statement for Toyota. I want to start out this part of the presentation by just saying that even accountants don't like evaluating cash flow statements. The creations of such statements are counter to the traditional teachings of basic accounting. Cash flow statements show how balance sheet items not only affect the company's cash balance, but how through various activities, the organization has been responsible with creating cash for the business. The cash flow statement is a more precise measure of how much cash the company truly has on hand, where it has spent money, and how it has earned money. Simply looking at the bottom line of the statement, Toyota over the last few years has been able to positively generate cash through their operations and business decisions. Over the last 3 years, the company's cash flow statement has shown steady cash building activity throughout with very little outlier movement. Through this statement, we can see that Toyota is consistent in the amount of capital expenditures they outlay, as well as the amount of debt that they take on. At the end of the day, Toyota needs to be most concerned with making sure that they are generating positive cash flow, and this statement shows that they're regularly doing so. Overall, the automotive industry is in a down period. Analysts attribute this to the cyclical sales of the industry along with the development of the trade war with China. Toyota, as recent as last week, had their stock selling at $119.71 a share, which is almost 3 times as high as their nearest competitor, General Motors. The company also currently boasts the highest dividend yield in the automotive sector of 2.95 over the last 5 years. The bleak situation in the industry right now is that all major automotive companies are having poor 2018s. There's not one company in the sector that can boast increased stock prices. General Motors is in the worst shape as their stock has dropped almost 20% over the last year, and Honda isn't too far behind them. Toyota, over the last year, has seen their stock decrease 5.34%. Again, these losses are mostly being attributed to market uncertainty. Things get a little worse for the industry with the recent news of GM closing plants in the United States, cutting 15% of their workforce. The 14,000 jobs lost is a move by the company to save about $6 billion in what executives state as a move to adapt to changing market conditions. The auto company is almost getting completely out of the car manufacturing side of the automotive industry and focusing their efforts on SUV and truck production, which is almost completely done overseas. Although 2018 hasn't been a great year for automobile companies, Toyota is looking forward and not behind. The company acknowledges that car ownership is down as a whole, but the need for ways to move people will forever be present. The automaker has begun creating partnerships with software companies like Uber and Amazon to be ready for a shift in the industry. The Toyota president has a firm belief that there will always be a need for his company. Recent remarks solidify that when he stated, "As long as we have the same purpose of making society better or making mobility better for society, we'll be able to have a good relationship and create new value." Clearly, the automotive giant is not looking to downsize, but rather proactively pursue ways for his company to be a trendsetter for the future. As the news of troubled automakers will continue to make headlines, Toyota is heavily investing in its brand. With an investment of $2.6 billion, the company is expanding in Plano, Texas, with their research institute that's going to be used to encourage free thought and innovation. Toyota is looking towards the future. As discussed earlier, recent restructuring is just another attempt for the company to transform its business model. Toyota is betting big on their hydrogen fuel cell technology and are even thinking outside of the automotive industry with the development of robots to help an aging population move around. The automaker has huge plans for 2020 where they plan to showcase their multifunctional concept vehicle, the e-Palette, during the Olympics. Toyota is clearly looking ahead, and so should investors. In fact, Analysts project that in 2019, the company should see an increase in earnings per share of 2.79%, only to increase to 6.17% by 2020. The car giant took a step back in 2018 to take 2 steps forward over the next few years. The recent news of the GM layoffs and their decision to significantly reduce car production only helps the forecast for Toyota and their already popular car models, Camry and Corolla. The Toyota brand is already defined as the world leader in the automotive industry, and our analysis has shown proof that the company has just as bright of a future as their past.